I've replaced all of the blood in my body with Persona 5. This is my story.
How does it feel so far? Oh wait, did they go to Hawaii or something? Why is he wearing that necklace?
No. I mean, you might have been confused because like the last story beat was us going to the beach, which is sort of like Hawaii, I guess, but it's not the same.
Oh, okay. And I suppose that would just be like a cherry blossom because Japan, of course.
Sure, why not? Still with the merchandise.
Yes, that's such an interesting sub. No.
Like, it is kind of interesting in some ways because this means that everything up until this point was what the writers considered to be the Phantom Thieves are somewhat popular. They're people know who they are. This is what it considers them to be popular. I assume that after this arc that they're going to be erecting cathedrals in their honor and starting death cults to kill anybody who questions the validity of the Phantom Thieves.
Also,
and that's going to be really popular.
So why did he say we're just I was just joking? Is it really that absurd a suggestion? I mean, we're a coffee shop. Like, have like a little booth where, or not, like a little setup.
He doesn't like them. We've established
that.
Yeah,
fair enough.
And it's like, I understand. It's like, I don't like them either.
Yeah. Well,
also, yeah, like that whole death cult thing, I might actually, considering what happens later in this episode, might legitimately be coming true. So I'm almost excited for that.
Yeah, I always love like this. Just okay, let's just have them talk. So they talked about the news report. It's like Phantom Thief merchandise, and then here's how popular the Phantom Thieves are. Goro is forced to recant.
Yeah, we have gotten Goro on this so that he takes back all the words that he said.
Well, in fairness, he's not really taking it back. He's just like, well, no, you guys are gonna hate me if I say this, so I'm not going to. I don't like controversy.
Look, I've been contracted to appear on every single episode of the Nightly News for the next year.
I'm the boy detective.
I'm the boy detective / your co-host.
It's kind of uncanny because he's like the case closed kid, but he's also like 17.
Conan the detective. Yeah, basically, I don't know. I've talked about before how just like Persona really likes the kid detective trope. I don't know. Whatever. Also, the Bandits got a new album out. That's just kind of on the nose. Whatever.
And
I agree with this guy. Because God knows that after the Double Beach episode, just whatever. Let's just get on with this here. We've talked about it so much. That entire last episode was amazing.
Yeah. We just...
And terrible.
I learned I do not have an hour and a half of stamina in me. I was dead by the end of that.
Oh, I know. Oh, you saw me too. It's just like by the end of that, I was just like, man, I just like I just want to get to the end here, and whatever's gonna happen, it's like we're gonna have a million different recaps of it by everybody anyway. Case in point, right now.
Also, I just love like, oh yeah, the counselor. You mean Dr. Maraki? I think so. Dr. Maraki, the counselor. He said he was studying cognitive science. To science.
Still can't get over that, eh?
It's not that dumb, but it's also like they always just like deadpan it like it's not stupid. And if they just had embraced it as a stupid thing, I would like it a lot more. Instead, they're trying to make it seem like it's this important thing, but
I mean, like, it is an important thing, but it is also stupid.
It's important.
Of course, if you think that even for a second the Persona is going to have any like self-awareness about any of the dumb concepts that they're putting forward,
you'd be waiting a long time. Yeah.
I mean, it's like in some ways maybe, but also in other ways, like they just do it and they don't care anyway. Like Yusuke appearing in Hawaii. By the way, that had a really good payoff, didn't it? Also, the Hawaii in general. And also, like, you remember that one scene where we just had like the teacher just posing in her hotel room?
Yeah.
Also, a lot of really good payoffs to each one of these scenes.
Yeah. Like, I just like that we went to Hawaii. There's no implication. It has nothing to do with this.
it just kills me that it's like it was immediately after an extremely similar set of scenes. They even did the whole like unsuccessfully hitting on women thing twice. Twice. For the love of God, it's not like I don't. Okay. Hey, the principal died. By the way, they still have not given him a name. He's only been referred to as the principal in Japanese.
Also, oh really?
Yeah, that's even to this point where he has now died.
Wow. But you know the weird thing is like why didn't they know about that? Like we know about the Phantom Thieves like merchandise sales, but it's not like a big deal if the Phantom Thieves, the principal at the high school where he died, like that would be like a scandal, like right in this universe.
I would think so. I don't. It is impossible to say. I mean, unless they can confirm that it is related to the Phantom Thieves, I don't think anybody's going to care about it because that's the universe we're living in.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's just.
Yeah, you know what's super contrary? The fact they didn't leave like a fucking calling card, dude. Also, it's like there were way more than just him there. I mean, I guess like it would be reasonable to. Every single time with this, like the ridiculousness of it. Yes, Mom. Yeah.
So
little do you know.
Yeah. So it sounds like she's a little bit suspicious.
And why? But whatever.
That's a really nice subtle note. You know what I mean? Like that's just a nice little just a suggestion that she might know something.
I mean, it's like she might just be more disappointed in her daughter that she's supporting the Phantom Thieves, considering she's so definitely against them.
I don't know.
Anyway, yeah. Once again, if we didn't have enough recapping scenes before. Also, yes, we are so well aware.
I was surprised when we got back to Japan. Wow, it's surprising because we went to Hawaii and then we're coming back to Japan, and now we're back in Japan. And
I mean, also it's like we knew that the very popular, even outside of Japan, there was an entire scene where we walked around and talked to people about how popular we were. Remember that was a thing? Also, here's Yoshizawa. Remember how I skipped past that scene? Well, it doesn't matter because she's back.
It's funny because like I was reading the script that you sent, and like the Yoshi, I thought this was like Toranosuke for some reason. Like his first name, and so I was
we're never gonna see him again.
Really?
Maybe I don't know.
A couple of times.
Yoshizawa is, she gets extra scenes because she's the new character.
Yeah, of course.
Toranosuke was in the original game, so I don't know.
Another urgent assembly. Yeah, remember the last time we had an urgent
probably
assembly?
Just remember the last one?
So
that was actually going to be like the last time that we would have seen the principal interacting with the main characters in any way.
No, because I think what that was, now that it would make more sense that was actually about the principal like dying, and they just had to, skip it, and now that they've shunted it into the Fifth Palace. That actually would make a lot of sense.
What, like, they didn't stop them at any other point in time, though. Well, I mean, we had an entire... Don't you remember the entire scene in the Hawaii arc where basically we went to go see the police director who's like, ha, yes, now we're going to kill him.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I guess we wouldn't have had context for the scene that came later otherwise.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think what they did is they had like a scene set up for the principal's arc, but then they got rid of it. Like that was going to be what that other assembly was for.
I mean, as we all know, though, that it's like Persona 5 story arcs for villains are just adding more to the list of crimes they've done.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Whatever, we can leave it. I don't know. It's like this is something that I was thinking about a lot after, because I've been watching other playthroughs of games as of late. A bunch of different like old 90s stuff, that ran out of budget very clearly, very Omicron style. Stuff like that, so you could see those really rushed endings. And it's like, this just feels like one of those games that they did not have that problem with. Like, this is, as far as I can tell, the full and complete vision of the Persona 5 developers and writers and everything. And I just think it's like, man, maybe running out of a budget isn't a bad thing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, there's some benefit. Like artists will talk about, especially like musicians, they'll talk about how the pressure to get something done on a deadline is one of the best things for the creative process. If you don't have that deadline, if you don't have that structure, for many people that can just become like, well, now there's no boundaries. There's no guidelines to how to do something.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, otherwise you get really obsessive about it. I mean, just ask me about anything I do.
And, I mean, this is kind of like an important thing. Like, okay, Sai's saying, but this also kind of ruins the whole scene with Makoto and Sai, because it's like, now it's not just suspicion, it's obviously like, okay.
She had no idea what was going on. And she really, or maybe she did, but she just doesn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the writers are capable of that complexity.
I think it's more of denial, but I don't know.
I mean, it's, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty nonsensical, especially because it was done in a very different style. I mean, oh, man.
I have no reason to believe everything you've said. This is such an exhausting frame story.
Oh, yeah, and it's just the entire payoff is just going to be that it turns out that she was a shadow the entire time. Because she's the next target after Okumura.
Okay.
It's like we know this at this point because there's 7. And the 6th one is going to be after Okumura, so it has to be basically Najima and then
Goro?
Shido.
What about Goro?
Unless Shido has something completely different. I mean, maybe his palace is the end game thing.
See,
and I don't know, he's just in mementos the
I
entire
thought
time.
Goro was going to be one of the palaces.
That would make sense, but it's just like he is a playable character. Well, I guess Futaba is too. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
He's not like explicitly evil though, as far as we can tell. Conceited, but that's about it.
So the frame story, the punchline of that frame story is going to be that we're just in the 7th palace, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we never left the palace. We were attacked while we were in the palace.
Okay.
It's just like it would be impossible unless like the police took us out of the palace, got into the palace by themselves, and then took us out of the palace. It's like that's not nonsensical. Besides, it's just like that is totally something that the Persona 5 would do.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it's not well written, but they do have an obsession with actually tying up details. They just will sometimes completely neglect entire arcs that they've.
Just, we still don't know how Morgana gets into palaces.
Oh, speaking of which,
Shut up, Anne. Yeah. So yeah, remember how I said about like the death cult thing? It's just like, I don't know, man.
I don't know, maybe it's good that he died.
Remember we want to see. I mean, I shot that like as an idea really, really early in the series about just, like, hey, what if the Phantom Thieves actually killed somebody?
Yeah.
And it's like they would have to live with like that sort of the consequences of that. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah.
But it's like, it seems like people would actually totally support them if they did this.
Well, that would make it very interesting. It would, again, like Danganronpa. There we go, you got that.
It would just be Death Note.
Free space.
It would just be Death Note. It would just turn into Death Note.
Yeah. And Death Note, that famously sustainable story.
Well, to be fair, that was because it had 2 different characters that, were head-to-head on each other. Here, it just has Phantom Thieves, and that's it.
Yeah.
Ryuji, shut up. You're all wrong. You're all idiots. For God's sake, thank you, Morgana.
Well, guys, let's get back on topic. Like, I do like that Morgana is just like there's this kind of the possibility of a conversation about morality comes up, and Morgana's like, "Hey, let's not get off topic here."
I mean, that is true too. It's like they would never actually like attempt to like broach these subjects in any way. Searching for a common. Okay, so this line right here, I wanna take a deep dive into like exactly what we've been looking at so far.
Okay.
connections between this. So here's what I assume that it says in Nijima's notes. Okay, so far there have been four different instances of the Phantom Thieves existing at all. Period.
Yeah.
Like in any way. They have no other. There's a website, of course, but like the website is like mostly reactionary news, and they don't follow any. And seemingly they don't have anything to do with like what people post on that website. So it's like I think that it's safe to say that we've had 4 separate instances right now. So the 3 times a calling card was sent out, and then shortly after, the person that received it suddenly turned themselves in. The 4th time did not have that, and instead like a website was hacked with their branding and somebody's information got posted online. So one of those times the calling card was sent out, it was clearly a different person because it was way more amateurish in art and like the writing style and everything. And of course the 4th one, once again, did not even have a calling card. It's like none of the victims knew anything about any sort of Phantom Thieves, or they're contacted in any way, or would like be able to tell anything. They didn't have anything to do with each other, except maybe Kaneshiro, who was also targeting people from the same school that Kamoshida worked at, but he was targeting people in all of Tokyo. So the only real connections are like they have something to do with Japan. Period. And it's like only to like the first calling card was not even remotely close to the same as the other 2 that had been sent out, and the 4th one is just completely different in every single way. It's like if you're Najima, you would be looking at this and being like, I think that whatever these people are doing, it's been found out by several different people, and these are all just completely separate incidences.
Or
especially the 4th one, which has absolutely no connection to how the previous 3 ones
well,
work.
what you'd have is you'd have a working theory that, okay, this might be the work of one person, but the 4th one you'd say, well, that was obviously a different person.
Yeah, because there's no connect. Yeah, it's like, and they were like, oh yeah, we got to figure out the connections between this. It's like there's no connections between this. It's all wacky crazy, and the only reason that people can even find out stuff is because Ryuji are literally facing them while he talks about how they're the Phantom Thieves.
I love that Morgana.
It's all.
Hold on, Morgana is just absolutely just going apoplectic. He's giving the rant he should have given like 6 months ago.
I love this stupid scene because it's like diegetically the characters are getting sick of the fact that you idiots won't do anything. Oh, maybe we should wait longer just for the sake of waiting longer because we're too popular. Oh, maybe he's not actually that evil when it's like you can just go right into the palace and there's no downsides to that at all, and see literally all of their sins plastered up on the walls, and like the I'm trying to remember the name, the Shadow himself like shouting about how all the evil things. And if you still don't believe him, you can just go online and see like the million lawsuits that he's had against him in the last year that all prove exactly what he's saying there. It's like it's all so everything is speaking of like the morality thing, it's like we keep talking about it's like they won't talk about the morality of the entire thing. I've thought a lot about the morality, and it's pretty simple. There's no downside to what they're doing.
Yeah, this is like a D&D thing where it's like evil is an objective thing that exists. I mean, there are arguments about whether individual characters might be evil on the margins, but it's not like, oh, well, no one's evil. Or gods. Like, gods literally exist in the D&D universe, and they can be called upon.
Yeah, and they are always chaotic evil sort of alignment. And that just is like a thing. And that's true for all the villains in this game as well. And again, it's just like if they are worried that it might be like a Futaba type of case, they can just go into the palace. And it's really easy to compare some of the information they would get from them.
Yeah.
God, Morgana just actually doing it. Just actually going out there and doing it. There's Haru again.
She's a new party member.
Like it's just like, hey, yeah, you know what? Fuck all you guys. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it myself. Oh my God. It's like finally.
Yeah.
It took 73 episodes, but even the characters got sick of having to do the whole 5-episode shuffle where they go around, they interview people badly, and then they don't get any information. They gotta give up, and then they gotta like, be all like, oh, well, I don't know, man, maybe it was all just a prank or something, and then they maybe decide to actually go do it, and they have to explain exactly how the phone application works once again.
It almost makes me think, like, was everything like up to and including the Hawaii foods thing, was that completely unnecessary? Because apparently we're actually getting to the point where things are happening. Like, why did we need all of those, like, 5 palaces to set this up? Like, let's just have them urgently seek a goal. Like this is just basic writing. Like, they have a goal. They, a character needs to go to a palace or an underworld in order to solve a goal. It's like, why are we waiting until literally 70 hours into the game or so to just start playing?
Like 40 hours in the game.
Okay. So to stop clearing our throats and actually play the game. Like, why? What is this helping us?
I mean, well, that's the whole thing where it's just like the Phantom Thieves have a very simple goal, and that is, do their Phantom Thief thing, but they constantly keep second guessing themselves on that for super arbitrary reasons.
For super convenient reasons. It's just like, well, we need to do this.
Oh, super contrived, convenient to extending the plot into infinity reasons. And I guess this is, at this point in time, they just kind of decide, it's like, man, we spent a long time on that Hawaii thing. Let's just do it already.
Doesn't that make you just as bad as the Phantom Thieves?
Very dumb.
Yeah.
That's no different than what the Phantom Thieves are doing. But she doesn't have superpowers that are contrived by the story to make sure that she's never doing the wrong thing.
Only the Sith speak in absolutes.
Yeah, really. Hey, here's the palace.
Oh, cool.
Morgana, couldn't you have just gotten to the palace, each one of the palaces before at this point in time to figure out exactly what it looked like so that you could use it for the whole navigation system? I mean, how do you get into this one so easily? Because that still has yet something that they have not explained.
It is really funny that Morgana's just like...
Oh yeah, got totally destroyed. Yeah. Which is just like, yeah, fair enough. I mean, he also got totally destroyed back in the Kamoshida arc. But it's like, at least he's trying. Master? What? Haru? What? Okay, well.
Plant Girl. Looks like she's becoming more important.
And yet it's just like she's still known as the least memorable of the Phantom.
Like, what, you keep saying that? Is that like among like fans or whatever, or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
okay.
Because it's like the only 2 characters we have left are now Haru and Goro.
Okay.
And it's like Goro obviously has gotten a lot of play in the story up to this point, comparatively.
I like that they're introducing Haru. Like, basically they're just like, shit, we gotta, we can't just rush her in, but we do have to she does have to be a party member by, like, the next, 2 hours.
In, like, the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so they're like, we're trying to be, like, subtle about it, but at the end of the day, they're just gonna be like, there's just gonna be a scene where she's just conveniently, like, the person you have to talk. Well, that's what they did, right?
It seems like they're building her up as like, okay, so she had a persona the entire time, and she was probably working for Okumura or something.
And like,
she was probably working with. I mean, that seems to be what they're building up to. That it's just like, okay, so
Phantom Thieves.
Why would you assume the Phantom Thieves did anything? That's not been what they do. That's not like what they. Now again, it's like, okay, so Najima would know. She has like information about it, like the general mental state of being right before he died and everything. These guys wouldn't know. How would they connect that to the Phantom Thieves? Also, Death Cult once again.
Honestly, as much as
the Phantom Death Cult is happening.
Just to be clear, I'm fine with contrivance if it serves the plot. Like okay. Okay, yeah, of course, we gotta talk about Okumura. This is the annoying thing. It's like, okay, they've got to contrive to talk about the next villain.
We didn't do it enough yet.
Yeah, let's talk about Elon Musk because that's the next. Who cares? Yeah,
basically. Yeah, no, contrivance is fine. It's just like it can serve a story, but it's just like this is so out of left field considering what these characters should know, it's absurd.
Well, I mean, I think it's totally
It's-
fine though. It's like, okay, the Phantom Thieves have been in the news, and then the principal at the high school where they're thought to be kills himself or it dies under mysterious circumstances. Fine. You know what? That's an interesting contrivance. Like, how are the characters going to deal with it? That's perfectly fine. I'm totally fine with this. I'm just upset that they took this long to get to it, and I know the payoff is going to be disappointing bullshit. That's
It's gonna be nothing.
Mhm.
It's so weird too, because like the villains are supposed to be helping out the Phantom Thieves by boosting up their popularity. It's just like, why would they kill somebody so close to them that would just put the news back on the school after they had not done anything with the school for quite a while? I mean, I know that it's just like, yeah, he has information on them and he would be confessing it to the police. Seemingly that's what he was about to do, but like, certainly there's something, like, you don't have to use the whole metaverse thing. You could just like kidnap him or something.
Well,
I don't
what
know.
would be interesting is if they just talked about, like, if they talked about Okamuro from the beginning and had him like on ads and stuff, and just like, you know, had established him, it would feel a lot less contrived and stupid than what they're doing right now, which is just like,
But at the same time, it's like, look what they've done with Shido.
yeah, that's true. But I mean,
Just so bad and stupid.
and really, they should have just had they should have just done made the bosses not just be like random people, like a gym teacher, an artist. No, make them like the most powerful people in society. Make them have all sorts of interesting, sadistic attributes that are like, for lack of a better term, make them Epstein. Epstein. Like, just make them like terrible people that everyone's talking about, so that when something happens to them, it is a national scandal that you've established.
Yeah, I mean, that would make a lot more sense then. I mean, it's like, everybody does talk about them anyway, but yeah, no, you know.
Like, you've got to go and change O.J. Simpson's heart.
That would be something. Especially considering that he's not even in Japan.
That's true. You'd have to go across the country. Well,
They're just doing it. I mean, just defacing the statue would be like the whole, we got to change something in the real world to change something in the metaverse. It's like, they're just doing it. It's been, by the way, it's been one day. The whole thing usually takes like 7 to 8 episodes to get to this point in the past.
And I mean, I'm totally fine with the fact that they're doing this faster. It's just so infuriating that they didn't do this before. At least a little bit. Like, at least a little bit of urgency, guys. Just, like...
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like not even just urgency, just determination to actually do something.
Even when this game is good, like, this is like a theorem. It's like, even when this game is good, it's in the service of, you know, making you even madder.
Just angrier about what it was. Yeah, it's just like, you know, okay, so you can do this, eh?
Uh-huh.
You can just do
You
this.
can just look them up.
You don't have like some sort of compulsion to